Hey everyone, it's the interview queen Alicia Atout here, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to my interview with Antoine Vaillant. How are you?
I'm good. How's it going, everybody? How are you
I want
doing?
to- I'm good. I want to say thank you for hopping on here and for taking the time. I'm really excited to be chatting today.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, yeah.
Well, how have you been holding up with everything going on right now? We are, of course, in the middle of a pandemic. It's been a little crazy. It's a few months now. So how have things kind of been settling?
Well, for me, honestly, there was not much difference than before because I do have a gym in my garage and I'm part owner of a gym, so I do have access to a gym. And the only places I was going pre-COVID was pretty much the grocery store, my house, or the gym. And
Right.
right now, the only places I can go is the grocery store, my house, and the gym. But now the restaurants are opening up a little bit. So for the only thing that I miss is that the cheat meals on Sundays, because when you follow a diet, you have like sometimes a cheat meal to boost your metabolism or just have a break from the diet. We would go out in restaurants, but now they were all closed. So it was like Uber Eats and skip the dishes.
Right. What's usually that one meal you kind of crave once that day comes around? Do you have something in specific, or does it change?
Well, the thing is that my coach Jordan Hamilton, he even wants to control the cheat meals. So usually it's always like burgers and fries. So I would want to eat pizza and just like a bunch of like just snacks and stuff, but it has to be controlled also. But it's like it's also my job, so I gotta keep that in mind. It's like it's not normal what I'm doing. I'm aware of that.
Right. Well, what were some of
Yeah.
the things you've been doing to keep your boredom at bay and stay sane through all of this? 'Cause I know you mentioned how not much has changed. There's usually those three things on
Yeah.
repeat, but have you kind of picked up anything new just to pass the days?
I tried playing video games at first, Warzone with my friends, but I sucked at it. Like I used to be good when I was younger, but now I'm just pretty much following them around and dying. So I kind of stopped that. But the thing is that I can't. If I'm bored, it's pretty much a choice because there's so much things I have to do that I could be doing that I can always do something. So when I'm sitting down and watching Netflix or whatever, it's because I'm choosing to do that because I'm too tired to do anything else, pretty much.
So boredom's actually a good thing when it comes to your life. It's like your chill
Yeah,
time
I
away.
don't think I'm ever bored,
That's
honestly.
that's a good thing to have.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you're definitely very active on social media, especially between your Instagram and all of the different appearances you make on YouTube. So I was curious, what's one of the funniest comments or weirdest things you've actually read about yourself online? Because I know for myself, every day you see something new that's just a little out there.
Like somebody posts something about me.
Yeah, or any comments that may have come through, is
Oh,
anything
to
kind of,
me, like in my DMs.
whether it's DMs, something
Oh my God,
public.
do you really want to go there?
Is it that bad?
Well, depends what's allowed on your channel there. But for example, 2 days ago, there's a guy. His username is like something like Cash Slave Texas, and
Okay.
and he's like, can I send you money? And then it's like then he asked again, anything I could like pay for the weekend, any bills you need help with? It's just there's people out there who are getting off from being like it's called financial domination. It's
Uh-huh.
like it's just some type of like weird fetish. I'm not sure if it's like sexual or not, but yeah. So there's people out there that just want to give you money, and it's like they want to be used financially. So that's the latest one I had 2 days ago. That was kind of weird. So Cash Slave Texas wants to give me money, but I didn't. I won't do that.
You
It's
didn't
just kind of
accept the
weird.
offer.
No, no. It's just
Well, just
weird.
speaking.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like, what do they like? It's just, I don't know. It's a weird vibe.
Yeah, because you're kind of thinking on the other end, what's running through their mind, what's the whole
I
thing
don't
going
know.
on, the whole
I
gimmick.
don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
Just speaking to connecting with fans, I'd love for you to tell everyone a little bit more about the power prayer and kind of finding your purpose, because I found that post to be really inspirational, kind of uplifting for people who might be in a bit of a rut, especially in the times we're in now.
Oh, yeah. The thing is that during COVID, actually, I was like, because everything was changing, I was like going through some, not a rough patch, but like I had to adjust and because I had a problem of addiction before, and I really have to be on point with my recovery, or like things starts to slip a little bit, like not necessarily a relapse, but more like the way I'm gonna think, my actions, and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna rekindle my passion for recovery and just doing the right thing for myself, and at the same time sharing it with others. So I started at first just every day writing reflections, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll post it to my story. I'll just post it to my story, just share it. At first it started like that, and I did a few days in a row, and people always like, the thing is that I kind of have to share it like that, and because it's so easy for me to really help people. I get lots of nice positive messages that, wow, you're really helping me out. I relate this and that, and I'm receiving some really nice messages, like I'm affecting people's lives in a positive way. And then I started doing those every day. Well, I try to do every day. It's just sometimes it's just I sit down and I got to write it, right? So there's some days I don't do it, but also a few years ago I wanted to write my own book, which was my own daily reflections book. But it was kind of hard for me to find 365 different ideas.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, but now what I'm doing is that, which I started to do, like I just explained, is that I have this book here by NA, so Narcotics Anonymous, and I have the one from AA, which is like their daily reflections. And at first, like I was showing my stories, like what I relate to the reflections of today, and I would share that. And then after doing like 10 days in a row, I said, wait a minute, there are my ideas for my 365 different ideas. 365 here, 365 here. So sometimes I'm just going to read, and then just one word is going to make me think of something. So I'm writing this book. It's probably going to be ready in 2 years, to be honest. I don't know how long it takes to write a book, but I'm getting inspired by those 2 books here, and sometimes other stuff, to write my own daily reflections book. And in the process, every day, or when I write my daily reflections, I share it on my Instagram, and then people it can inspire or help people. But most of all, I'm doing it pretty much because it helps me. Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the time to write it, and then I'm making myself accountable in my head to like share it with the people to help them. So it makes me create a different type of content than the usual me posing in my underwear,
Right.
So it's something more. Yeah, something more of substance. So yeah, so it makes me accountable to do that, and it helps me get it out of myself, because when you express yourself, this is if you keep everything inside, it's not good. So every day I have to almost every day I have to make an effort to really express something that I'm feeling, that I went through and stuff. And so it's good for me first, and then it might be good for other people. And so far, I think it is. So I'm just gonna keep doing it, and my book is getting written like as I do that too. So it's like 2 birds, 1 stone kind of thing.
That's awesome. And it's such a huge undertaking to write a book. Like, I've heard about the process and how crazy it is behind the scenes, from conceptually to the publishing steps. But the fact that that you're not only helping yourself literally every day, but also all of your followers, that must also be something inspirational to you, and like a nice little pat on the back to be like, this is a good reason to keep going and put in all that effort to release this book.
Yeah, well, for example, you mentioned the power prayer. I can read it for you guys. Let me find it. Mm-hmm. So the reason why I wrote that is because when I was staying at the shelter, after my 3rd rehab, they did a mistake. The counselor, she felt really bad, but she thought she was sending me to a recovery home, like a halfway home. So when you go for a rehab, you go to somewhere else where you're like, you can go outside, but you go back there, and it's like it's still like it's like following a rehab. It's a thing to do. Like after jail, people go to halfway houses to be reintroduced into society. She thought she was sending me there, but she actually sent me to some type of program that was in the shelter called the Salvation Army in Hamilton, on York. And for those who know that area, so my friend Aaron, it was during nighttime, he drops me there. He's like, what is this? I said, I don't know. Is that the place? It was a shelter. So she thought it was a halfway home, but it was actually a shelter. So, so every day I was around people who were drunk, high, and I just came out of my third rehab. So, but
Yeah.
I had my own room on the floor with a key, and I was sharing that floor with two other persons, and it was like some type of program. It didn't last long, the program, but I stayed there a month. So, yeah, but every day I wrote that prayer and I put it on the back of my door because every day I would have to remind myself to recenter myself because around me it was everywhere, and
Yeah.
I just went.
Couldn't escape it.
Yeah, I just like lost everything once again because of drugs and alcohol, and then I get out of my third rehab, which was 2 months, around drugs and alcohol. So I really had
That's
to like, yeah,
wow.
yeah. So I really had to like really every day focus because I told myself, if I failed now, if I fell down now, how low can you? Where do you go from there? I was already at the lowest. I had no place to stay, and I was around the uh, not the, I'm trying to find the right word. I was around the people who were suffering the most in the world. Pretty much like in a way, like people were like in misery and despair. So
Yeah.
if I failed there, where do I go? I can't get lower than that. So I said I got to really make sure that I don't relapse, and I didn't the time I was there. So the prayer that I wrote to remind myself is so the first three lines are a question that you reflect on that. What is my purpose? What is my destiny? What do I want to be? And then I would reflect. Do I want to stay here? Do I want to be a loser? No, I want to be a champion, right? So I got to, do the right thing. And then you ask for, well, it says, grant me the guidance to fight the good fight, courage to kill the fear, will to be a champion, and the power to change the world. So you want guidance to know where to put your energy. You want courage to not be afraid to do it. And then you want will to keep going and be persistent and dedicated. And then the power to change the world. Because you told me earlier by doing that, and my goal is like have a positive impact on the world. Yeah, so the power prayer, when I say change the world, anybody can change the world. We're changing the world every day, all the time. If you're mean to somebody, you're changing their world a little bit. And if you're mean all
Right.
the time to
Every
everybody,
action
yeah,
has
it's
a
like
consequence or something else.
exactly. So everybody is changing the world all the time. It's just a matter: are you changing it for the better or the worse? If you see a garbage on the ground, like a can or something, you leave it there instead of putting it in the garbage. Well, the right thing to do is putting it in the garbage. So if everybody
Yep.
would do that, then nothing would be around, right? And if there's a nice older lady, you hold the door. You're changing the world a little bit. Like if you do if you try to do everything that has a choice, you try to make the right thing, you're changing the world for a better place. You are changing the world. And even if it's like 0.00001% for the better, you're still changing it.
Well, for the
So,
better.
yeah, exactly. So the last line and the power to change the world, that's what it is. It's like because we all have it. We just got to use it for in the right way. So that's why I created that prayer. And I think it's a good one. And the first part, what's my purpose, what's my destiny, and what do I want to be, is just that you want to reflect, like, what do you want to be in life, like, and then from there you move on to the other part. But yeah, so that's why I wrote that while I was in the shelter, just to recenter myself and remind myself that I do have the potential to have a positive influence in the world, well, like everybody else. Yeah.
I appreciate you being so open and like sharing in depth everything that kind of you experienced in that
Oh
aspect
yeah.
of your life. I mean, I knew a little bit about the recovery and rehab and everything,
Mm.
but not the extent of actually being sent to the incorrect
Yeah.
spot. Just
Yeah.
wow, and just
It
being
was.
surrounded by temptation, and I mean, I couldn't imagine
Well,
that.
temptations. The thing is that you're seeing the worst side of what drugs and alcohol can do. It didn't
So it's
look like,
almost like a reflection of don't
well,
enter this world.
do I want to stay here or get out of here? So I didn't relapse the month I was there. I relapsed 6 months later, but that's another story. And I went to a fourth rehab, and since then
Right.
I've been good. But it was a good experience, and I'm glad I did it because I know where it leads.
Of course.
Yeah.
One other aspect of your life I did want to get into is how, of course, you are a very proud IFBB pro.
Oh
And
yeah,
a
yeah.
a lot of kids want to be teachers or astronauts or rock stars when they grow up. So, is it true that your love of bodybuilding actually all started with simply discovering bodybuilding magazines and then it just completely went crazy from there?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that I was going on a website called bodybuilding.com because I want to be stronger and more muscular. And then I was training at home. I was doing martial arts. I was doing like flips in the grass or whatever, like gymnastics. And I was doing push-ups and I was doing sit-ups every day. And I had a dumbbell. I was doing curls. And then I learned through that website that, wait a minute, the physiques I want to attain, they're not doing what I'm doing. They're training in a gym facility. So I asked my mom to give me a gym membership, and then I went over there, and I told the owner, I said, I want to compete in bodybuilding before I even stepped in the gym. So I started training with that in mind to be a competitive bodybuilder. And a year later, at 16, I did my first show. And then I kept doing it because I was like, wow, I'm doing this by myself. It's all the efforts I'm doing are being rewarded at that show and the way I look. And I really like the discipline, the self-discipline. So I just kept doing it because I guess I had good genetics. I was good at it. I got validation from it from other people. So I'm subconsciously, I just went through that route. And I guess with the hard work mixed with my genetics and stuff and the food, I was like, I was pretty good at it. And then I won my pro card 10 years later in 2012.
That's awesome. That's such a
Yeah.
cool story to hear how it was literally just something you were intrigued in. The next thing you know, it literally consumes you and becomes your life because you already have some great accolades under your belt. But do you kind of have that end competition that you seriously want to be in or you seriously want to win? Because I know it's usually one of two for people, but you never know what everyone's end goal might be.
Well, I think everybody who's a pro bodybuilder, they would love to compete at the Mr. Olympia, which is like the Super Bowl of bodybuilding. It's the biggest show. It's in Vegas. So right now I'm at the point that I was fourth in my show 2 years ago, and I improved a lot since then. I couldn't compete last year because of a bicep tear injury. I could compete earlier this year because of COVID. But now I think third time's the charms. I'll be able to do it. And if I win the show, which I came fourth 2 years ago, nowhere near as good as now, I qualify for the Olympia.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so if I win the show or if I place top 2, top 3 enough times, I could qualify for the Olympia. So this is where I'm at. The next step is like I got to qualify for the Olympia. And once I'm at the Olympia, the next goal will be like to just go up as far as I can in the rankings.
That's amazing. Well, I really wish you the best of luck with everything going forward in that regard. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Of course. So the last thing I did want to mention is how I discovered that you have a love of metal music.
Yeah.
So who are some of those top bands for you, whether you are just chilling out around the house or you're in the gym working out? Like, who are those go-tos that you just love?
Yeah, well, I've been listening to a lot of like techno, dark techno, and psytrance lately, and but I lately let me find it just so I can get the titles right.
No
Oh,
problem.
you know Static X, the band Static X?
Yeah.
They just came out with a new album. It's called Project Regeneration, Volume 1. And in that album, they're using the voice of the singer, which he's dead. He's been dead. So so it's called Regeneration. And they're using his, I don't know how they did it. I don't know if they, I don't know if it's computerized or it's like, it's from the studio that he was practicing before. But it's pretty cool. Like this is like the album cover, just like that.
I didn't know they had a new record.
Yeah, 2020. It's new. Like the past few, I don't know, it's like just now. And I really like the new Suicidal Angel album called Years of Aggression. They're a Greek thrash metal band. So those are the two that I liked, and I also have the New Testament album there, but it didn't stick. I like more the new Static X and the new Suicidal Angels, if I'm gonna listen to metal. But I like all kinds of metal, death metal, thrash metal. I like thrash the most for some reason because it's fast, it's hard, and the vocals you can actually like. Because I'm French, right? So if it's too much growling, I'm not gonna be able to hear what he's saying.
You can't distinguish.
Yeah,
exactly.
but I do like Cannibal Corpse. They're pretty good. But yeah, but even Manowar, it's like a cheesy like metal from the 80s, heavy metal. I like that too. But mostly thrash metal and Yeah, so check out the new Static X album. It's pretty good actually. And
Yeah.
it's interesting that it's like the guy's dead and he's singing.
I want to look that up after our
Yeah,
interview and just see if there's
yeah.
anything online. Like there must be how they did it. That's
Oh,
crazy.
for sure, for sure. I just didn't look at it. I
Yeah.
just didn't look. Yeah.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time and for hopping on here. It's been a pleasure speaking with you and, listening to your stories and what you've been through. So thanks a ton.
Yeah, likewise. Keep doing what you're doing. It's pretty cool too.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. Say a huge thank you to Antoine for taking the time for coming on here. I am the interview queen, Alicia Atout. Be sure to check out aliciatout.com for all exclusive interviews and features. And we will see you on next time. Bye, folks.
See ya.